discours indirect, les modifications dans la phrase. So we saw together in the two previous videos this discours indirect, so the way to construct it, and then few modifications that can happen when you make this discours indirect. So if you didn't watch the previous videos, I definitely advise you to do so because it will be more clear. But then still, what we can do is we can do a really fast overview and review of the discours indirect, because, well, the discours indirect is basically if you've got, well, one sentence like that: Elle pense, le vendeur est compétent. Okay, penser is to think, she thinks, le vendeur, the seller, est compétent, is competent. Okay, so in that case, it's possible to have this kind of structure, okay, but then if you want to combine these two sentences into one, you can just modify it, and that's what we call the discours indirect in that case, because you will get elle pense, so she thinks, que, that, and then you continue your sentence. Le vendeur est compétent. Okay, so in that sentence it's quite simple because, well, if you have a look at the first structure we've got here, and then the second structure we've got here, it doesn't change that much. You only need to add this que, and then you will remove few things, but then no main changes into your second part or this part of the sentence. Okay, but we'll see that in this video, of course, in some cases when you switch or when you modify and you make this discours indirect, well, you will have some quite important modifications in your sentence. Okay, but then, well, the rule goes like you will first have the first part of the sentence, then you will have your que, okay, that, and then the sentence will continue. Okay, so that's the whole concept of this discours indirect. So it evolves around this que thing, and then remember that, of course, as usual in French, if we've got vowels coming after, then this will have to go away. Okay, so let's see now one first example. Il dit, okay, dire is to say, he says, je pense que le film est bon. Je pense, so penser, I think, that le film est bon. Okay, so if you want to modify this sentence, of course, you will have to change it a little bit, because it's not possible to say il dit que je, okay, so the subject, it's not possible to continue with je in that case, because you will have to modify it and adapt it. So in that case it should be il. Okay, il pense que le film est bon. All right, so that's the only thing that you will have to modify, so it's not really difficult, but keep in mind that, of course, if the subject goes like that, so je, of course you will have to modify it and, well, put it according to the first subject here, so il dit. Okay, let's see now a second example. Il dit, je te regarde. Okay, so same thing, so il dit, to say, so he says, je te regarde. So if you remember, we saw these pronouns before, so I am looking or watching you. Okay, but then in French we put these pronouns before the verb. Okay, and it's interesting because in that sentence, of course, you can notice that we will have to modify this first je, pronom personnel, and then, well, probably we'll have to modify this te as well. Okay, because I look or I watch or I look at you. Okay, this you must be changed, of course, if we switch it to the indirect discours. Okay, so let's see now. And it's quite interesting because in that case, if you get the sentence just like that, without any previous informations, whether this te is for a boy or a girl, then it can be quite tricky because we don't really know, and we'll have to options. The first one, il dit qu'il. Okay, so this il is the je that you modified, or you modify according to il here. Okay, so it must be the same. And then it can be le if the person is masculine. So if he is looking at another person who is a man or a boy, so in that case it should be le. Il le regarde. Okay, and then the second option, well, it's almost the same, but if you look carefully, il dit qu'il la regarde. Okay, and in that case it would be a woman or a girl. Okay, according to what was, well, previously said. So in that case we really need to know before whether we're talking about a boy or a girl, a man or a woman. Okay, because if we don't, then it can be tricky to modify and put this discours indirect, because we won't have any clue whether it's le or la. Okay. Another example, il dit je présente ma proposition. Okay, so here same thing. So yeah, if I translate the sentence, it's quite, well, simple. So dire is to say, we saw that previously. Je présente, présenter is to present. Ma proposition, my proposition or proposal if you want. Okay, je présente ma proposition. So in that sentence, we know, of course, because we've been seeing that in the previous examples, that je will have to change. And then in that case, we assume that this ma, so adjective possessive, will have to change also. And let's have a look. So, il dit qu'il, okay, so exactly the same thing that we saw previously, présente, and then you will have to adapt, of course, this adjective possessive. So it won't be the first one, so ma, my, okay, but it will be, well, ça, so third person of the singular. Okay, remember that in French we will put this feminine form ça just because the word it is connected to, so proposition, is feminine. All right? Okay, so il dit qu'il présente sa proposition. Il dit je vous présente ma proposition. So it's almost the same sentence as we had previously, but then I wanted to introduce this vous. Okay, so another pronoun. Je vous présente ma proposition. Okay, so as we saw previously, je will change, so ma will change as well, and then probably this pronoun will change as well. So let's have a look. Il dit qu'il, okay, we saw that. Présente sa proposition, we saw that as well. And then vous, okay, which is this pronoun, okay, pronom complément d'objet indirect, je présente à vous, okay. In that case, you will have to modify and to put that at the third person of the plural. Il leur présente sa proposition. Okay? Il dit qu'il leur présente sa proposition. Il dit je vais parler à mes parents et je vais les inviter. All right, so here it's quite interesting as well, because, well, if you have a look, je, of course it will change. Vais parler à mes, this thing normally should change as well. Je will be the same, it will change as well. And then it will be interesting to see whether this les will change. So what's your opinion? And let's have a look. So il will change. So je is becoming il. Mais is becoming c'est. Je is becoming il. But then here, it doesn't really change because you are just referring to mes parents. And in that case, it was already the plural form, les invités. So it doesn't need to change at all. Okay, so il dit qu'il va parler à ses parents et qu'il va les inviter.